Today we're going to be continuing on looking at quadratic equations, but we're going to be using the quadratic formula to solve these. So this is going to be when we cannot factor our equation. We're going to use this. So we have x squared minus 6x plus 4 equals 0. And this is not factorable because the factors of 4 are 4 and 1, and they need to add up to a negative 6. So negative 4, negative 1 is going to give me negative 5, so that one doesn't work. And then I also have 2 and 2. Negative 2 plus negative 2 does not give me negative 6. So I cannot factor this problem. So I'm going to use my quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b plus or minus, that's what the symbol means, plus or minus, the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. And we need to remember, when we have our quadratic equation, it's ax squared plus bx plus c, okay? Where we have that a value, that b value, and that c value. So that's what we're going to be taking from our equation and plugging into this formula. So when I have x squared minus 6x plus 4, my a value is going to come before that x squared, and there's nothing there, so I'm going to know that is a 1. My b value is going to come before that x, and I need to take the sign with it, so this is going to be a negative 6. And then my c value is that last term, positive 4. Now I'm going to take these values and I'm going to plug them into my formula. So I have x equals negative b, so I'm going to have negative, my b is negative 6, put negative 6, and then I have plus or minus, so I'm going to get two answers for this, square root of b squared, so my b again was negative 6, squared minus 4 times a, which was 1, times c, which was 4, and then that entire thing is going to be divided by 2 times a, which in this case is 1. Now that we have plugged everything into our formula, we're going to start simplifying this. So I'm going to rewrite this as x equals, I have negative 6, which is going to make this a positive 6. Two negatives make a positive. Then I have plus or minus, and I'm going to simplify what is inside the radical. So I have negative 6 squared, which is going to be 36. This will be 36. I'll write that there. And then I have negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 times negative 4, or times positive 4, I'm sorry, gives me negative 16. So this will be 36 minus 16, and 36 minus 16 is going to give me radical 20. That whole thing is divided by 2 times 1, or 2. So now from this point, I'm going to make two equations since I have the plus or minus. So I'm going to set up both of my equations here. So equation 1 is going to be x equals 6 plus square root of 20 divided by 2. And equation 2 equals 6 minus square root of 20 over 2. Then you're going to take and plug both of these each into your calculator. So when I plug the first one in, I'm going to get 5.24. And you guys are going to get decimals, so I want you to round to 2 decimal places. Give me 2 decimal places, the nearest hundredth. And then plugging in 6 minus square root of 20 divided by 2, I get 0.76. And then you want to write your answer inside the brackets. I've run out of room here, so I'm going to squeeze them in here. 0.76 comma 5.24. And that's what x equals, so that will be your answer there. I'm going to go over 2 more examples, so I'm going to go over numbers 1 and 2 with you guys, and then you guys are finishing through number 16. If you feel comfortable, you're more than welcome to stop the video at this time, but if you want to see more, go ahead and stick around. So number 1, I have x squared plus 10x minus 2 equals 0. I cannot factor this, so I'm going to start by writing down what I have for my a value, my b value, and my c value. So my a value is going to come before this x squared. It's going to be a positive 1. B is going to come before that x. That's going to be a positive 10. and c is going to be my last term, and I'm going to keep that sign with it. It's going to be a negative 2. Now I'm going to plug into my formula. So I have x equals negative b, so I'll have negative 10 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so I'm going to have 10 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 2, and that is all divided by 2 times a, or 2 times 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and simplify this, so I have negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 10 squared is going to give me 100, this one's going to be 100, and then negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, negative 4 times negative 2 gives me positive 8, so this is going to be plus 8, so 108 is what's going to go inside the radical, and that's divided by 2 times 1, or just 2. Now I'm going to set up my two equations. So my first one is going to be x equals negative 10 plus square root of 108 divided by 2, and then my second equation, x equals negative 10 minus square root of 108 divided by 2. So make sure you're getting those two answers. So when we plug these into our calculators, we do negative 10 plus square root of 108 divided by 2, I'm going to get 0.196, so I'm going to round that up to 0.20, 2 decimal places. And then when I plug my other one in, I have negative 10 minus the square root of 108 divided by 2. And that is going to give me negative 10.196, and I'm going to round that up to negative 10.20. Then I'm going to take and write my answer in those brackets. So I have negative 10.20, comma, 0.20, close brackets, and this will be my final answer. So I can plug both of these values in for x to satisfy this equation. Alright, in the number 2, I have x squared minus 11 equals 4x. So I do not have this set equal to 0 yet, so I need to move some things around. So I'm going to move this 4x over to the left side so this is equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 4x here, those cancel, subtract 4x on this side, and I'm left with x squared minus 4x minus 11 equals 0. Now I'm going to go through and list out my a value, my b value, and my c value. So a is going to come before that x squared, it's going to be a positive 1. B is going to come before my x, and I'm going to take that sign with it, so it's going to be negative 4. And c is going to that last term, again taking that sign with it, so negative 11. Now I'm going to take these values and plug into the quadratic formula. So I have x equals negative b. Negative b is negative 4, so negative 4, plus or minus square root of b, which is negative 4 again, squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 11, and that's all divided by 2 times a, or 2 times 1. Now I'm going to take and simplify this. So I have equals a negative 4 is going to make this a positive 4. And that's going to be plus or minus the square root of negative 4 squared is going to be 16. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 11 is positive 44. So I've got 44 plus 16. It's going to give me square root of 60. And that's still divided by 2 times 1, or we can write just 2. Now I'm going to break this down into my two equations. So first one, x equals 4 plus square root of 60 divided by 2. And then my second equation, 4 minus square root of 60 divided by 2. Then we're going to plug that into our calculator. So 4 plus square root of 60 divided by 2 is going to give me 5.87. And then plugging the second one in, I have 4 minus square root of 60 divided by 2, which gives me negative 1.87. We're then going to write those in our brackets. These are the two values that we could plug in for x to satisfy this equation.